Right, welcome back, guys. This is just going to be a shorter video. When I went to Make Essential, I was there for a couple of days, and I was showing people that, ow, that hurt, that there is a lot more to this two-part epoxy from Gorilla Glue than meets the eye. Yes, you can use it for gluing stuff together, but you can also use it for making jewellery, making pens, all sorts of stuff. I'm going to show you a couple of different ways of using this now, and also adding some colour to it as well. It's a much cheaper alternative to buying lots of expensive resin, and you only really need to use what you need. Should I say that again? You only really need to mix what you need. So this, oh, there we are. So this two-part epoxy, it's the 5-minute two-part epoxy by Gorilla Glue. There are cheaper brands out there on the market, but I've found that this particular type from Gorilla, it doesn't go yellow. Now, I have been using in the past the cheap stuff from the pound shop, but it heats up real quickly, almost too quickly, and it turns yellow. So I stick with this one now. So what you can do, oh, hang on a minute, there's another application. So this is a plywood ring that I made on the lathe, and then I coated it with Gorilla two-part epoxy and added some pearlescent type blue pigment to it, and that's how it's turned out. I don't know if you can see that. I chucked it back on the lathe, turned it down, put a C8 or super glue finish on it, and there you go. Done. Looks gorgeous, doesn't it? Anyway, so there's various different pigments and dyes and things like that that will work with this two-part epoxy to give it a colour. So you've got various glitters that you can put in it. That's like a green and a red. Pigments, I use eyeshadow. I just grind it up. There's thousands of different colours of eyeshadow out there. I'll just grind it up and it works perfectly. You can use the liquid type of colour. You can use acrylic paint, just a little touch of that will work. These are pearl effect, 3D pearl effect colours. They come in various different types. A little touch of one of those will also work to colour your resin. So what we'll do first is we'll make a couple of these little pendants. Right, so the first mould that we're going to be using is this is for making ice cubes, believe it or not, but I found that it is perfect for making rings, woggles for scouts and things like that because of this in the center. Anyway, so we'll be mixing up some funky colors to stick in there. These are also little silicon ring molds. There's various sizes, so we'll do a couple of those as well. These are quite easy. Just when you fill them up, they pop out like that. Easy. Now these are what attracted quite a lot of attention at Make Essential, these next molds, and what they are is they're little jewellery molds. And see how they've got this little pin right there? It's so that you don't have to, can you see that? So you don't have to drill to put a chain or a clasp or whatever you want to put through. These are silicone again, They've got a real shiny inside to them, so whenever you pop your mold, well, what you've molded out, you'll have a nice glossy finish on it. So we've got like a teardrop, we've got a round disc type one, we've got a square tablet type, and then there's an oval type as well. Right, for the first one, let's see. For this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix some green eyeshadow up and some of this funky pearlescent type flakes. I don't know if you can see that on camera. There you go, there you go. So it is so simple, guys. What you do is you get your mixing stick. Now only do one of these at a time because it is 5-minute epoxy and it's going to go off quick. What I like to do is put a bit of this flake in my mold first, like so. And then what I'll do is I'll mix the 2-part epoxy up. Just remember to keep it the same consistency coming out. So a little trick, pull back on your syringe like this, otherwise it will just gunk up at the end, like so. Click that back on. Right, mix your 2-part epoxy up, mix it really well, add your pigment, you see how that takes colour really well. Love this stuff, but it's also still kind of transparent because I've only added a little bit of this pigment into there. This is eyeshadow as well. So what we're going to do, we're just going to let that sink into its mold. Okay. You see how easy it is to do that little bit too much? And there we are. Just clean the ends off. There we go. There are a few bubbles coming up. Alright, we'll leave that for a couple of minutes on there. Put the lid on that because I'm absolutely terrible and I'm an accident prone. Right, let's scrape all that into, you know what, let's pop this little bit into this mold, shall we? Just for the crack of it, we'll make a little bit in the middle there. Okay. So let's finish this one off before it goes off. What I'm going to do is, because I've used green, I'm going to use some clear, but I'm also going to add some of this green glitter in there as well. So I don't actually need a lot of this now. I think that will do it, to be honest. Remember, suck it back up into the tube and pop your lid on. I'm using a different spatula because I've got no gloves on. Pop a bit of glitter in there. Right, pop that in. Let's swirl it around a little bit, make it look a little bit special. So when you're using these molds, you really got to make sure that you don't get a little air bubble around your little pin. That's all I've found, is just agitate this little pin a little bit. You see it there? So you don't get any air bubbles around it. Okay, just leave that to go off. Now, just bear in mind, oops, put too much in. This stuff will kind of change colour a little bit. The more of it that you pour, the hotter it's going to get, and it is going to change colour. But you've got to bear that in mind, it's going to go a little bit darker. So, shall we do a clear one with some pearl? Yeah. So I'm going to use the 3D pearl. This is like a greeny type colour. And we will add, I'll add some little glass beads in there as well. We're doing this big one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour my resin out. You need quite a lot for this one. Right, sorry guys, you can't see what I'm doing. There you go. Let's mix that up. Get a new stick. You know what, I'm not going to add that actually. I'm just going to put the beads in there. Right, there's our mould. Let's put a couple of beads in the bottom of that, like so. I think that'll do it. Never done this before, so we'll have to just wait and see what happens. Hopefully it will all sink in where it's supposed to go. I've got a better idea. I'm going to tip that out actually, because I don't think that's all that's going to get in there. So let's mix that up, and then we're going to dump them in like that. There you go. I think that's going to work a lot better. And you know what? I think we might have a little bit left here. Add some glitter in there. Everyone loves a bit of glitter. And we're going to chuck it in this little mould right here. What I've found with these little moulds is you've got to kind of agitate them down a little bit, obviously because of there is going to be trapped air in there. I mean, this Gorilla 2-part epoxy is really thick as well, so whatever mould you're thinking of using, just bear in mind it is really thick. It's not really going to run into every nook and cranny, so you've got to kind of just work it in there. I mean, this is already starting to go off now. Yeah, I'd recommend you use gloves as well, but as I've run out, I'm just doing it hardcore. And don't worry about all these little bits that are sticking out. You can always go back and clean it all off after with a bit of sandpaper. Right, so there you go, that's that one. Right, so this next one is going to be a ring, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my 2-part epoxy directly into the mold itself, because excuse me. Right, so that's in there now. All I'm going to do, I'm going to mix that up really well. A lot easier mixing it in the mold itself. Okay, so this is like just a pigment. So I'm going to put a little red in one side, just a standard pigment, and I'm going to put a little blue in the other side. We're going to mix that up. Looks a mess at the moment, but it won't be. Oh, what a beautiful colour. It's like a metallic purple. There you go. Let's get rid of all that stuff in there. Okay, this is easy as that. Clean the top of that off, because obviously we want to drill it through in a bit. There you go. So there you go, there's our different ways of using this 2-part epoxy. What I do, I know it says 5-minute epoxy, but I like to leave it that little bit extra, just to make sure that it's not sticky when you put it out of the mold. And you see the bubbles coming up out of that one now. This stuff does get warm, it reacts. The one part will react with the other one, it will produce heat, and then it will set hard. So we'll be back in a minute. Right then, let's demold these things and see what we've got. We'll start with this one, which is the ice cube mold. Oh. That is still quite tacky, and it's because it's quite a large amount of resin, so I'm going to leave that upside down on there, and we'll move on to the next one. I mean, that will dry. I'll give it a couple of days, and it'll be perfect. Right, so this is that is still flexible, so I'm not touching that yet. Let's have a look at this one. This is the first one that we did. So this is like the, what do you call it? Oh, that looks nice. I like that. There you go. So you got the hole in there. So all you have to do is just get a knife and just clean these edges around the back here. That's cool, isn't it? Right, this is the teardrop one. This is the sparkly stuff. Can you see that sparkling? Oh, there you go. See how shiny it is? Now, see I'll mock this one up. Can you see right there? Right in the end. Well, you know what I was saying about making sure that it's right the way around that little pin that sticks up. Well, obviously this one wasn't. I could have pushed it in a little bit more. I've got that little void there. It's okay, you can shave this down with the sander or something like that and it'll still work. You see how glossy they are. Right, and then there's this one, which is the clear with the beads. That looks pretty cool actually. Let's put it on there so you can see it better. Oh, I'll have to drill that one out. But there you go. I mean, guys, you could spend a lot of time doing this, and you know, you could put all sorts of colors in and you could produce some real nice jewelry out of this if you just put the time in. This is just a quick example of what you can do, really. Right, thanks for watching. Like I said, this is just a really simple video that I wanted to just point out to you guys that this stuff is just, it's not just glue. It can be used in loads of different applications. Yes, to glue things together, and also to make jewellery. You can use it in model making. There's all sorts of stuff. I mean, these turned out quite nice, these little pendants. That one's another one there, look. Little purple one. I'll leave a link to where you can get hold of these molds that I use off of eBay in the description below. I'll leave a link to the Gorilla website as well. Thanks Gorilla for sending me loads of these. I'll use them. Also, if you want to support this channel, guys, we've got a load of merchandise out now. I use Teespring, so I'll leave a link to the description to that below. So if you want to support the channel, you can go over and buy a t-shirt or a cup or something like that. Anyway, again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.